Jim Belushi, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Welcome to the Seed Your Head podcast. We are new, so we're so happy to have you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. So you just toured American Warden.
Yes.
Can you give me, what's your reaction to the exhibition? Good, bad, it could be anything. We're taking all reactions.
I love it. I love the educational process that's involved. Cannabis, there's so many new consumers looking for relief in pain and sleep and hopelessness. And there's an educational process, especially in the back end, about the terpene values and the effects of it, which I think is very important for people to understand before they purchase the product. See, the incarceration part is, really very sad, and it's very well depicted and simply understood, which I think is important for people to see. Our audience's attentions are kind of short, so it's done very well.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. It's a labor of love here. So many people.
Love is where it's at.
Yeah.
I mean, the cannabis is based in the spirit of generosity, kindness, and love. I mean, in the 60s when cannabis really blew up out of that big stir expansion into Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco and California, it was the summer of love. Everybody was consuming cannabis and dancing and having fun. So that spirit, I think, continues through the longevity of the cannabis growth in our country.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get back to a fundamental societal state where we are reflecting the love of the planet in the way that we handle the people that use it.
Yeah, I mean, I do this show called Growing Belushi, and the title is based on not only me as a cultivator growing cannabis, it's also about me growing as a person, as a man, because as soon as you start this relationship with cannabis or plant medicine, uh, and it's interesting that it's a feminine plant, so there's a lot of feminine energy. The mother, that energy, if you follow that energy, it will lead you to where you're supposed to be. And it's leading you right here to be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's growing. I've grown as a man, just in sensitivity and understanding, communications, and a peace within myself. And I attribute it to this relationship with the plant.
Yeah, I totally agree. And as a way to, resolve some of the nastier spirits that reside within us, as we were discussing earlier.
Yeah, the spirits, we are filled with all different spirits. And the problem is that, you try to reject them. And, resistance only makes you strong. So there's got to be a way that you take those spirits within you, whether it's the jealousy spirit, the doubt spirit, the worried spirit, fear spirit, is establish a relationship as opposed to the relationship being about rejecting. So cannabis has kind of taught me that, ayahuasca too. That is, you can tell your fear spirit to back off a little bit.
So just to back up a little bit, because like I said, I saw your animation of your ayahuasca trip. Yeah. And
those guys did a great job of putting that together.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
and it was so impactful because I have been exactly where you were with that. The different spirits, how they were taking over your being.
Well, the idea is that that we should be the CEO of our life. We sit at the head of the conference table, and all these spirits are all your board members, and they're all there to help. But on the board is the spirit of jealousy, hate, worry, doubt. But there's also the spirit of love kindness, generosity, fun, bitterness. There's a bitter spirit there.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, you might have gotten in trouble. You know, you got lost somewhere, and your fear spirit takes over, and your fear spirit tells you, turn left, and you turn left, and you turn left, and all of a sudden you're on the turnpike and you're free, and you feel safe. Well, the fear spirit wants to stay in that position. You know,
They're gonna have power. Behind it.
well, they like it. They like to work, just like you like to work. So the trick is to say, okay, you did a really good job. So now go back to your chair. I'm going to run it from now on. And they're going to whine. Just like a kid. You go, I love you. I need you, but I'm not right now. Please go sit down. So if you can control your, not control it, manage your board. Because my question was, you know, I'm an actor. I need all those spirits I got to rely on.
Yeah.
Well, you should pull them up. You know, okay, now I need the jealousy spirit because the scene I'm doing is about being jealous about a woman seeing another man or whatever. So you pull that spirit up and you embody it and you act it. Then when the scene's over, you go, okay, nice job. Good job. Go back.
Yeah.
Go back. But then the fear spirit will come back and go, hey, didn't I see you when you got lost?
Yeah.
You know, come on now. Yeah, I'm doing a really good job.
So one of the other things that really gripped me with that is when you talked about your brother and your mother and like how you carried them with you. We had a chance to talk a little bit in the car, and I didn't relate this to you, but I had experienced like the death of my high school boyfriend sort of when I was like 16, and I was just trying to go nuts. I had lost it a little bit, and I started eating hallucinogens, thinking I was like, I'm just getting fucked up. But then I realized quickly, like, this isn't getting fucked up. This is like communing with the spirit world, and it helped me through a time of grief. But I do sort of feel like I still carry them with me. My him and now my mother.
I went to a shaman actually like 3 weeks ago. She was kind of a healer shaman. I don't know. She's part of this program. But anyway, she was quite a beautiful, beautiful spirit, this woman. And she drums and things. And we talked a little, and she started working on me. And she rolled on my stomach and started grabbing my back. And she's going, oh my God, you're carrying so many carcasses.
Oh.
Get rid of the carcasses. And she started making this noise like she was pulling off a carcass after carcass after carcass. She banged the middle of my back. She goes, these wings are stuck from the weight of these carcasses. And she would push down on my spine, pull her arms up like that, open the wings. And afterwards, she was like, wow, you're carrying a lot of carcasses. It's time to let them be. They're fine. And they'll be better if you let go of them. So, you know, with your mother and your boyfriend, it's time to let go of those carcasses, baby. It creates more room.
Yeah.
And they're fine. They're fine.
It's like a practice, though, you know?
I know, but it's also a security to hold on to those carcasses. Yeah. But you hold on to that weight, and it is weight, you know? And
yeah,
let go of the weight, open the wings, you know? So it was a very profound little session I had with her. She was very good.
And that was DMT, ayahuasca, right?
No, this was, I was totally sober.
Oh.
Yeah, she was like a healer, shaman, and she dropped into a world where the spirits were coming, and she was just bringing them in and ripping things out.
It's amazing.
She was very cool.
So that was not just, straight sober. What do you use cannabis for the most?
Sleep.
Yeah, a lot of people come in.
You know, it's an interesting thing. You can really learn about somebody, not by saying, how are you? But by saying, how do you sleep?
Yeah.
And everybody has a story about their sleep. And you can really learn about them and how they sleep, because sleep, 80% of the people in America suffer from sleep, whether it's women going through, a menopausal period where their sleeping is really rough because of the hormones, or whether it's ingestion of too much wine and sugar, or whether it's just the neurosis of toxic thoughts, that keep you awake. Everybody's struggling. And in the meantime, they want to take a medication to help them. Well, what's the number one medication people use?
Alcohol. Yeah.
Which isn't helping you sleep anyway because of the sugar. And then they go to like, all these PM things are. Those are the heaviest drugs I've ever taken. Was like a Excedrin PM or aspirin PM. I don't know what they put in there, but that should be illegal.
Have you ever tried what's the prescription one that makes you sleep?
Yeah, Ambien.
Have you ever? That is crazy.
Yeah.
I felt like my whole bed was like.
Yeah, Ambien.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with that when I was on Broadway.
Oof.
It was, you're doing 8 shows a week, and your peak adrenaline is at 10:30 at night.
Right.
So it takes 4 or 5 hours, right? People come home from work 5 o'clock. By 10 o'clock, adrenal glands are down. But when you're in a theater, it doesn't come down 3, 4 in the morning. Then you got a matinee the next day. So you got to sleep because you're putting out, because you're not only doing a matinee, you're doing an evening show. And so I was panicked and I started taking Ambien, and it screwed me up.
And so now, how do you? I like to ask people this question because a lot of people come in here to see looking for products specifically to sleep, and it's different for everybody. Do you do edibles? Do you do smoke?
Well, I believe now that there's a great product out there, and we are dealing with local roots.
Yeah.
And Vinny is great in Massachusetts.
Yep.
And he is developing a one-to-one for an edible chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah.
THC, CBD, and CBN.
Yeah.
And I like the chocolate because, I do 2.5 to 4 milligrams. I'm kind of like.
Me too.
Yeah. So, and I let it melt in my mouth, and it goes through some lingual into the bloodstream, and it, first of all, it happens faster. Because once it goes into your liver, it actually becomes a different chemical.
It takes a long time, depends on what you eat.
It takes a long time, depends on what you eat, and edibles are very dangerous if you don't start slow.
Yeah.
So that's what I use.
So speaking of that, you have that product coming out. What do you currently have in Mass?
Brick hash.
Oh, that's gonna be nice.
It's an old school hash.
Oh, really?
And on Growing Belushi, I think second episode, we show Vinny's at local roots. We go through the process of how our brick hash is made, and it's all hand cured. It's like making Cuban cigars. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Process, and they roll it. It's a wonderful girl with great spirit. She rolls it before she packages it. It's like, oh, girl, I'm so glad you were doing it. Look at the light that's coming from you. So she's putting love and light into that. She puts it away.
Love it.
She was so sweet. So brick hash, which reminiscent of the 70s when I was going to concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I took a little sliver of that brick hash and I meditated with it. And my meditation went to another level. So it was real supportive of that spiritual search.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's happening. I mentioned to you earlier, I smoke and run. And that is it. It's getting me to that meditative state, and then I can just run. So my body's busy. I can't do anything else.
Right.
So your mind's a million miles away. So I'm all for that. The brick hash.
Yeah, you're
gonna like that. I gotta elevate.
You're gonna like that. You're gonna like that. Then you guys already have the Blues Brothers ice cream, 5 milligrams in a pint. Perfect party favor.
Yes, the orange whip.
The orange whip, right on John Candy. Say orange whip, orange whip,
orange whip
on the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, love it. It's funny when I started at Curaleaf, we always used to say, I hired my brother, I hired my sister, and we would always say, we're on a mission from the dad.
Well, that's
because my mom, it was all for my mom,
Well, that's why I chose the Blues Brothers as a brand. Because Blues Brothers represents music, which is as close to God as you can get. I mean, it all came from gospel. American folk music came from gospel. And those men and women singing in the gospel choir, they're like they are channeling the spirit
Oh,
of God, right? So music, and which cannabis goes right alongside of that spiritual travel. It represents mischievousness. Blues Brothers,
yeah.
these guys are
A lot of that.
mischievous. So in life, cannabis, there's some mischievousness, there's a fun element to it. And then, of course, the most important one to me is the mission from God, which is we are on a mission to hurt never and help ever. And heal. As an actor, my job, I realized not too long ago, my job was to make people feel good, right? You come to the theater with your boyfriend or your partner. Yeah, you get in an argument on the way there. Park here, park there. I'm hungry. I didn't get to eat. I'm going away. You get a little, who knows? You might be a little off. You get in the theater, and after the show, you've laughed. You've laughed with your partner or your wife, and you leave and you feel good. And that ride home is probably lovely. So my job as an actor is to make people feel good. And now being in the cannabis industry, I realized my purpose is to make people feel good. Whether it's sleeplessness, hopelessness, back pain, seizures, Alzheimer's, uh, PTSD. It's
Dying. I mentioned to you, I got into this to try to bring some grace to dying.
Hospice is perfect
Yeah.
place for it. My stepfather-in-law was dying, and they were giving him all kinds of opiates. I said, give him a candy bar. At least he would be able to communicate with his children before he left. You may be.
Yeah, they rob you of the person before the
Yes,
person goes,
yes.
which is brutal.
Yeah, hospice is a great place for it.
Definitely. So on growing Belushi, I was surprised to see how very involved you are just in the day to day of every aspect of it. And my next exhibition up in Portland, Maine, for the museum is called Seed to Soul, and I'm going to track a cannabis seed all the way through its life cycle until it goes into your soul and makes you high, right? So at every border wherever there's compounds transitioning across boundaries, I really wanted to investigate that. So, for example, when the root hairs are interacting with the bacteria in the soil and they're exchanging compounds, or when the trichome is, bursting with all of the cannabinoids, or when the cannabinoids are then interacting with your endocannabinoid system. So now that you spend a lot of time interacting with this process, what's your favorite part of it to do, or the part you find most mesmerizing?
Well, I'm ultimately a family man, and I love watching things grow. And I love it when the girls are growing in the greenhouse under Father's Sun,
Yeah.
right? And Mother Earth. And I feed our plants with the water from the river. It's like feeding them with arrowhead water. So I like to play music for them during the day. I like to start the day off with a little Teddy Pendergrass, that big making music, Make all the girls feel sexy in the morning, baby, it's so beautiful. I love you so much. And then I move it on to about a little reggae, get the groove up, no woman, don't cry, and then feeling really good. And then in the afternoon, I give a little funk or some blues brothers. And then when I harvest them, the week before I harvest, I play gospel music.
Okay.
Two things. I want them to know that they're going to the light. And I want them to know that they're bringing light to others. So I like that process of watching them grow and talking to them, touching the leaves, bending them, smelling the calyx of bud. I love watching the colors come alive on the calyx of the bud and watching the trichomes start to pop and turn lightly to amber. I love that process. I get a little more nervous in planting the seeds, making sure it's the right distance below the surface. But I love seeing them root too, after 8, 10 days, transferring them to a pot. I like to transfer the hands-on stuff of taking them from the little cube
Yeah, I watched you do it on growing blue on the grow up.
Yeah, in Aeropia.
Yeah, that's great.
So, what can I say? I love the whole process. The only process I don't like is that at a certain point when you go to market, dispensaries will pay according to the
Yeah.
THC level. And that really doesn't represent the quality of the cannabis. And educating people now about the combination of the entourage effect of, you know, trichomes, cannabinoids with the THC, the result. I mean, I have a strain of 16, 60% THC, but it's got a 3% terpene value. And
Big.
boy,
yeah,
you smoke too much that you well. So it's frustrating because it forces you, the marketplace forces you to grow cannabis with high THC in order to make your margins to keep the family and the farm alive. So that's the most difficult part, is convincing that. But they got to convince the customers.
Yeah. The good news is we do see a trend away from.
You do?
I mean, the more connoisseur sort of.
I know, but Oregon, especially, it's a working class state. These guys, these girls, they just want something to get them through the day,
yeah,
or their night shift, or to get them through, the evening. Instead of having beer, they have something. So they just want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
I mean, I laid out 6 of my strains at a dispensary, and people came up, talked about the strains, and one couple, nice people, they said, "Which one do you like the best?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I like my cherry pie." I said, "It's 90% THC, about 3.5% terpene. And it's, for me, it's the perfect feeling. I call it the marriage concert because you take a hit or two of this, and whatever your wife says that night is beautiful. And you have a lovely time." So I call it the marriage concert. And and so then he goes, "Well, what's this?" I said, "Well, that's my chocolate raspberry. That's 29% THC." And I said, "I haven't even smoked that because it scares me. It's too much. And what about this? And what about this?" And what? 27, 28, 23. This one has great terpene values. But the cherry pie is where it's at. And he goes, "All right, I'll have an eighth of that chocolate raspberry." He just wants the highest THC.
Yeah.
After explaining to him how the myrcene, thins out the brain cellular wall and the entourage effect of it, and how when you have terpenes, you don't get that anxiousness, that anxiety. Give me the highest THC. And it's like, well, will you buy a bottle of wine with 30% alcohol? No, get it with 14%, and the rest of it's terpenes.
Yeah.
So educate this audience is very difficult. And so really relies on, but
it does. And I mean, you've met our
wonderful
shares here. So great. We're lucky. People come in just because of them. That just, what's new? What do you like? And that's what.
Well, I think that's the secret of retail business, is the relationship with the customer. Because people want to spend money with people they know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they feel like getting ripped off. But I know you and I trust you, and I'll pay the little extra for that because I'm trusting you.
Yeah, it's nice around here. We're in the heart of the land.
Oh,
we have a very vibrant. There's a lot of different things going on in here. Very, very colloquial, local. Everybody comes in. They know their names and all.
Yeah, it's great. It's a beautiful story, a beautiful operation, and I love all the things that you're trying to do in cannabis and that you've done in cannabis.
Even though they're making me bitter.
bitter, girl. Yeah, not good.
How do you feel the fight of, like fighting against the hypocrisy of some of our laws and not ultimately get that way? I mean, you gave me, literally, we had a 20-minute ride over here, and you gave me some of the best advice I've gotten. Stuff you know. I mean, I know, but I have to like put it in a good way. You made it. You simplified it. You made it the Budweiser.
There you go, man. Really easy for you to go around and let crap. I got a few more things for you too, but we'll wait till next time.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. All right, if you could tell, I know usually when I end this, because it's so funny, now it's going to be embarrassing to say this, but I have asked everybody that come in here, like, if there's one thing you could change about current society, what would it be? Like, just anything. Doesn't have to be cannabis, doesn't have to be anything. Something that, did you ever see a Family Guy? What grinds your gears? What really grinds my gears? Nothing anymore.
The visualization of plastic in the middle of the ocean.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That just really freaks me out every time I drink something out of plastic. And I'm not a freak. I mean, I'll drink stuff plastic. But every time I throw the plastic away, I think about where it's going. That's my little secret kind of
Yeah.
pet peeve. And I feel overwhelmed. Like, what can I do about that? You know. Uh, but besides that, you know,
Okay.
the great injustices in the cannabis community, not in the community, but in cannabis with the incarceration of people for possession.
Yeah. I mean,
And the other thing that frustrates me is Biden, uh, you know, saying that he's going to release all federal prisoners for possession of cannabis. It's like stocks in the cannabis business went up that day, and then they went back down the next day because they realized, oh wait,
there are no
federal prisoners for simple possession.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing for, you know, Kamala Harris to, you know, she put more people in prison in California for cannabis just to get her stats up for a political rise, you know, and they're not doing anything. We're going to research the Schedule 1 thing. Okay, so this is the statement to appease everybody that voted for you because you said that you would do something in the first 300 days about cannabis, and this is what you're doing? Nothing. So I'm a little bitter.
Yes, I was gonna say
I voted for Biden. I'm a little bitter that he didn't deliver the freedom that this industry needs, and you know, ooh,
yes,
I'm not hate, but you know, a little
bitter.
and I got taken. You get mad at yourself more. I get bitter.
I didn't get my way.
Get my way.
I didn't get my way.
Maybe I get my way, but you're really sad. My son's like that. He just owns his father. He'll ask me for something. I go, oh man, what are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? And he'll go to the mother and she'll go, no. And he'll go, oh, okay. And she just jumps to it. He pulls that little sad face, right? Wow, she's so easy.
Maybe send him to Biden.
Right? I got his sad face. Like, okay. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're the best. And look at that.